Namaste and welcome, friends. I'm Coach Tejasvi and I'm very glad you're here. This is a space where together we explore the mind through a blend of yogic wisdom and simple practical awareness to help you find a little more clarity, calm, and balance in your everyday life. And today, I want to talk about something many of us quietly struggle with: the feeling of being lazy. There are times where you know what you need to do, but somehow you just can't begin. And slowly, the inner dialogue starts. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I'm lazy. But what if that's not the truth? What if you're not lazy, but your mind is simply overloaded? Before we go further, let's just pause for a moment. Take a slow breath in and a soft, long breath out. If you really look at your day, from the moment you wake up, your mind is already on. Messages, notifications, decisions, constant input, constant processing. And even if your body hasn't done much, by the end of the day, you feel tired. Not just physically, but mentally. You feel heavy, scattered, unable to focus. And we call that laziness. But in both psychology and yogic understanding, our ability to act, to focus, to move forward depends deeply on the state of our mind. And when the mind is overloaded, action doesn't flow easily. It slows down, it avoids. Sometimes it just shuts down, not because you're lazy, but because your system is overwhelmed. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, there is a beautiful idea, chitta vritti, which refers to the constant fluctuations of the mind. Yoga is described as yoga's chitta vritti nirodha, the gentle calming of these fluctuations of the mind is yoga. Because when the mind is constantly moving, jumping from one thought to the another, it loses its steadiness. And in that state, even simple actions can start to feel difficult. Also, there is a subtle obstacle described in the Yoga Sutras called sthana, which is often understood as mental stagnation or inertia. From the outside, it can look like laziness, but internally, it is something very different. It's lack of clarity, lack of inner energy, a mind that is too scattered to move in a specific direction. So maybe instead of asking, why am I so lazy? We can begin to ask, what is weighing on my mind right now? Because sometimes what looks like laziness is simply overload. Let's come back to something very simple. A small reset you can use anytime you feel stuck. Just bring your attention to your breath. Inhale slowly to a count of 4 and exhale gently to a count of 6. Let the exhale be a bit longer. Let's take a couple of these breaths. Inhale to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 6. In yogic practices, this is a way of calming the system, of reducing the internal noise. And when the breath begins to settle, the mind also slowly follows. You can also try something very simple. Instead of holding everything in your mind, take some time and write the things down. Not as a to do list full of pressure, but as a way of creating space in your mind. Because often what we are carrying is not just work, it's a lot of unprocessed thoughts. So today, instead of pushing yourself harder or judging yourself, see if you can try something different. Pause, simplify, take one small step. Not from pressure, but from clarity. Because when the mind begins to settle, action doesn't have to be forced. The action starts to flow naturally. This space is an invitation to understand your mind with a little more awareness, a little more compassion. If this resonated with you, stay connected. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Namaste.